Hello everyone in oneness. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am Jessica Delmar. In this video, we are going to be talking about October's Ascension energy. In the last video, we spoke about the fall equinox energy and sort of what was going on with September. I took some time off in September just to kind of focus on alignment and balance and ease and flow and getting into a place of allowance and opening the form, the body, and energy up to allow for flow of energy, because we are moving into this powerful time with that September open doorway, if you will, with that fall equinox, the Christ consciousness energy now opening and integrating within the collective consciousness. And Christ consciousness is what we were talking about with the trilogy energy that we've been talking about basically all year of 2019, and the balancing of this trilogy energy within and without. Trilogy energy being divine masculine, divine feminine, and Christ consciousness energy. But now that this doorway is open, what was sort of becoming a little bit more clear to me is that Christ consciousness energy is simply oneness consciousness. It is tapped into the greater oneness consciousness that we are tapping into and moving into in our consciousness shift from 3D into 5D and beyond. Christ consciousness is simply that oneness consciousness embodied in a physical form and then expressed through that physical form, which is what we are all moving into as well. So this powerful oneness consciousness is integrating more strongly in the collective consciousness, which is going to open up massive shifts within the collective mind, as well as the collective in physical form. And so I'm just going to be talking about in this video sort of what was shown to me in terms of how this oneness consciousness shift in the collective is seen as from an energetic perspective. What was shown to me is we've been speaking a lot about an internal energetic pole shift, both within us as individuals as well as within the planet Gaia herself. Everything is going through this energetic pole shift. Not necessarily a physical pole shift, which we've talked about in a past video, meaning if we take the planet Gaia, for example, in the North and the South poles, they are not physically shifting. Maybe they are, I'm not 100% sure of that, but what's going on a much deeper level is an energetic pole shift, where things are kind of turning on its heads. The coins are flipping, perspectives are flipping. Our consciousness, in order to move from that 3D duality consciousness into a greater form, more expansive consciousness in 5D, which opens up into oneness consciousness, so many of these shifts has to take place. And right now, 2019 was very much about balancing the inner energetic pole shift that you have within your own physical form, as well as Gaia herself, in order to get your physical form, your energetic form, and your greater spiritual body in alignment and balance, to then move into this greater frequency tier, if you will, because there are a lot of different layers going on. But in order to move into 5D and into an ascended consciousness, the physical form, the energetic, as well as the spiritual forms all kind of have to be in alignment, and then are able to step into this higher frequency. Otherwise, if, for example, if the physical form is not in alignment, then it will not be a vibrational match to this higher frequency layer that we're moving into in 5D. So 2019 was very much about like a preparation of the physical, energetic, as well as the spiritual forms, and all of that encompasses emotional, mental, And a lot of things are kind of underneath the umbrella of the physical form, the energetic form, and the spiritual form. And so the trilogy energy balancing all of that out in order for us to step into 2020, which is a very energetically aligned year, in order to match that frequency. Because if we do not match the frequency of 2020, then there's going to be a lot of discord as the physical form stretches and tries to skew into being kind of pushed or forced into that place of alignment with 2020. But with this opening of the oneness consciousness into the collective consciousness, it's really kind of speeding things up for a lot of people in making a lot of those dramatic shifts within your physical, energetic, and spiritual forms, which will then manifest in your physical reality that you're experiencing. And so in the last video, we spoke about the flower of light, which is located between the heart and the solar plexus chakra, as seen on the screen here. We've also been talking about the flower of light, integration and activation in the past couple of videos, and I also had a workshop about it. Everyone is going to activate it. We're all just in different stages of the activation of it, which will help to connect us more strongly and more deeply with our 5D consciousness, oneness consciousness, and 5D higher frequency body. And so this is an illustration of the 12 chakra system in my ability to interpret it right now. So we spoke about the ascended 5D chakra system, or the 12 chakra system, in a past video. I'll put that link below. And in that video, I'm going to put a screenshot of one of the slides that I showed in that video. We spoke about the opening of the 12 chakras. And in our 3D chakra system, as seen on the screen, we have the root chakra, which is our first chakra, and it goes up into the crown chakra, which is our 7th chakra. In the 12 chakra system that I highlighted in that video, again, I was kind of following the same sort of energy flow, with the first new chakra being more of a connection to the core heart or inner earth Gaia chakra, and then flowing upward to the 0-point star, as well as the Merkaba chakras that exist up, if you will, above the crown chakra area. However, with the opening of and the unfolding of more and more information, what is becoming a little bit more clear for me is, going back to my slide today, is a shifting of that energy. So the energetic pole shift is also a shifting of the flow of energy. So instead of the first chakra being down here in the earth star chakra, which is what came through, or that inner earth chakra, it's now the first chakra being at that 0-point star chakra, center of creation chakra, and moving down through the body. This also makes sense because in the Flower of Light workshop, what had come through is that the Merkaba is playing a very important role in the physical form as well as the energetic form's ascension and integration of higher frequency. The Merkaba integrates and opens more light into the body, and the Merkaba and this Flower of Light space, if you will, the Flower of Light does not exist within the physical or the energetic bodies. It exists in the consciousness body, and the Merkaba kind of exists in all the different bodies. It's kind of a communication between all of the different bodies is what it's showing to me. And so the Merkaba very much communicates and brings light into the body, and it also communicates with this Flower of Light center. It's a new center in the body that tethers the physical as well as the energetic and spiritual forms to the higher vibrational 5D consciousness and oneness consciousness, as well as 5D body physical form. So this Flower of Light is very much like a tether. It is it exists in the consciousness body that helps you as your physical form to continue moving into that greater space, if you will. So the Flower of Light is very much kind of like a template that the physical form steps into, and it continues stepping forward with each step. You're being pulled further and further along through your connection with this Flower of Light consciousness that connects you to your 5D consciousness, your 5D body, and even greater aspects of that consciousness into oneness consciousness. So in the 3D chakra system, as we were talking about, the first chakra is the root chakra, and it goes all the way up to the crown chakra, and the energy in a sort of torus field, if you will, is shown as energy moving upward through the body and around, which is why I have illustrated here the torus field of the 3D body and chakra system. What had come through is, again, it moves up the chakras from the root to the crown. So the heart center in the 3D form, the physical form, is what connects the physical form to source. But what it was shown to me is that the energy moves in this upward and outward motion because source energy is filtered into the body through the lower 3 chakras. Especially what was shown to me is sort of that life-giving center that connects the physical form to the body is the umbilical cord, the belly button area in the sacral area. And basically because that's where source gives life into physical form. Also, if you think of a mother giving birth to a child, that umbilical cord, the belly button, is sort of that life force connection there. And that's very much 3D. This is the 3D connection to source in terms of the 3D physical, energetic connection to the greater source or life force energy. But again, even though it showed me the belly button, the umbilical cord as being that sort of life force connection area, the heart also still connects the physical form to source on a much deeper, greater level. What also came through is that in a 3D form, this source energy that's filtered through the body and gives life to the body is felt or seen as sort of outside of the body. People just in the mind space see it and feel it as outside of the body because the 3D form senses separation and feels this source energy much like the mother or the planet, even the planet Gaia Earth, offering life force energy to the form. Just like we spoke about how a mother gives birth, it feels like it's separate. It feels like there's a mother giving birth to a form, much like in 3D, we feel like source gives birth to us as something separate. So this was the explanation of the 3D chakra system and the explanation of the energy flow, if you will, in connection to source. But also at the same time, keep note that this is just one aspect of the shifting, multifaceted energetic field that is happening at this time. There are many, many different layers going on, and this is just one perspective and layer that I'm sort of tapping into at this time. Now, opening up into the 5D chakra system, which is happening right now as we speak, the energy, the torus field, is doing a complete pole shift, meaning 3D, it was going upward and outward. In 5D, it's now going downward and outward, downward and outward. And so that shift alone from 3D into 5D, the energetic spin has to shift. It's kind of like putting a car going forward into reversing. And so that shift has to take place slowly, otherwise it's going to be very, very chaotic and challenging to make that shift in a split second or even overnight. And so that's why it's like if you think of a whirring of like a blade of like a propeller or something going in one direction, in order for the propeller to now go in the opposite direction, that propeller has to slow down, maybe eventually stop, and then shift gears to go in the opposite direction. So that's why it's also important at this time, especially with that very strong September energy up until the end of this year, up until December, it's very important to integrate more of this rest and integrate more things that bring you ease, flow, alignment, surrender, relaxation, restoration, anything that puts you into a state of non-resistance. Because as you energetically put yourself into a state of non-resistance, you help to stop that propeller or slow down the propeller in order to get this chakra system rebooted from the 3D spin of that torus field into the new spin of the 5D chakra energetic torus field. And that's why it's so important right now to just focus on things that bring you joy, things that put you into a state of non-resistance, no matter what it is. If anything comes into your experience that creates resistance in some way, it's causing resistance in that propeller motion from shifting from the 3D into the 5D torus field energetic motion. So if anything comes into your experience that causes resistance, get yourself through your awareness and your consciousness now in that lifted, ascended consciousness, knowing that there's this shift being made. You can now step out of that energy of resistance and pull in more energy of flow and ease and allowance in some way that gets your focus off of the resistance and puts your focus into something that opens up more ease and flow and non-resistance in any way that you can think possible. There's a million different ways that you can take your mind focus off of something that's creating resistance and into something that allows more ease and flow. So here in the 5D chakra system, again, torus field is now going in the opposite way, and this contributes very, very, very much to that internal energetic pole shift that's happening right now. The energy now flows and filters through the Merkaba chakra into all of the other chakras, rather than the 3D chakra system had the energy source, life force energy flowing from earth basically up into the chakras and making that cycle. But now that life force energy is moving or filtering through the higher chakras first, especially that Merkaba chakra and downward into those lower chakras, filtering higher vibrational life force energy, source energy from those higher chakras first, the higher vibrational and frequency chakras first, into the body. In the 5D chakra system, the heart still connects the physical form to source. That does not change. The heart is still a very, very powerful center of the body, of the physical form. So, but now we're thinking physical form as well as non-physical form. But the heart in the physical form still very much connects the physical to the greater source. But source energy is now filtered into the body through a new umbilical cord that gives life to the 5D form. And this is very much, now we're talking more energetic. So again, in the 3D chakra system, that life force energy was filtered in the lower 3 chakras, that especially through the umbilical cord. And in the 5D chakra or 5D form, that life force energy now gives life to the physical form from source energy through this new flower of light center. So it's no longer through the umbilical cord. As much it lifts into this new space between the solar plexus and the heart, which is that flower of light center held in the consciousness body. It's not in the physical or the energetic bodies, because lifting into 5D is now lifting out of the physical form in many, many ways. Even though we still have the physical form, much of the way that we now are creating our reality is through the non-physical space and aspects of us. And so the life force energy that feeds into us, as well as our physical form, is now coming through this higher vibrational and more ascended space of the flower of light center, this new center. What also came through is that in this 5D form, the source energy, that life force, now comes from within. It's felt from within, even though it's always come from within. In the 3D chakra system, because we had the senses of separation and duality, we felt that it came from outside of us. But now in 5D, our consciousness shifts, our awareness shifts. So now we don't have that separation or duality consciousness as much. And we can now see or feel and understand where that source life force energy comes from without sort of the cloudiness of duality on our lens. So we understand now that it's coming from within us, harnessed from our 5D life force energy, which stems from the source within, harnessed in the new flower of light center. So the flower of light center is again what connects the physical form to a more expanded consciousness, that oneness consciousness, but it also serves as that umbilical cord that filters life force source energy into the body. And it's completely you, it comes from within you, it is you. A lot is happening with this shifting energies, the internal pole shift going on. For a lot of people, you've been integrating this sort of the momentum of the propeller, slowing it down in order for it to shift into this new, into the opposite propeller system. And for others, it may become a little bit more of an abrupt stop and shift. But regardless, we're all moving into this space in one way or another. And the best thing that you can do to help this process along is just as much as you can throughout the rest of this year is to focus on your own inner alignment and stepping into balance. And balance is very much opening the physical form and energetic forms to allowing more of the flow of energy to move through you rather than allowing for any sort of resistance to block that flow of energy. So even if there may be lower vibrational things that are moving through you in that energy flow that moves through you, because as this physical form, energy is just moving through us, whether it's low vibrational, high vibrational, whatever. And if you're experiencing a flow of low vibrational energy moving through you, by focusing on it and harnessing any sort of resistance against that lower vibrational energy, you just harness and manifest more and more and more of it. So in your ability to stop that momentum and to open more of a path of least resistance, and to open more allowance and flow and ease and grace and forgiveness for yourself, you open the floodgates to allow that lower vibrational energy, if that's what you're experiencing, to just move through you so that it clears from you and it opens into a greater clearing of energy, which brings in more light into the body, and all of it is just going to continue flowing and flowing and flowing. And eventually you'll experience this shifting of energy, which allows you to step into that oneness consciousness space, which is the vortex of oneness, which is where you are now going to be creating from as source creators, creating your realities from that 5D perspective. And that's what needed to come through for this October energy. It's a very powerful time, and this energetic reading very much goes into the rest of this year because this internal pole shift is happening, and it's going to continue happening for people. It's not going to be an overnight thing. So as long as you keep this in your awareness, in your mind, then everything is going to continue flowing for you, and you're going to find yourself exactly where you need to be, and that all is truly well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Together with you in oneness, I'm Jessica Delmar. Oneness and love be with you.